I think, Steve, if you have some time, you can chat, just put in the chat what you mean by PAEPARD becoming a brand, but that was nice to hear. Then we had from Francois, and he talked a lot about the challenges that we had with PAEPARD and the whole question of being able to translate development questions into research questions. It's like farmers are speaking another language, researchers are speaking another language. How would you put them in the same room? And he talked about several things, about priorities by EU research for private and what he talked about. What EU is now dealing with, where there are people, there is the planet, there is prosperity. How would you work with those three in the same room? They seem to be contradictory, but that's actually the reality that we have to work on today. Yeah? They are contradictory, but it's a challenge and we have to work on it. Then he provided so many links. There are reports that we can go to dig into some of those conversations that he's been having. There were questions that were posed. I'm just running through because I want to give time for the next person to tell us about the ERC. So there was a question about farmers, European farmers not engaging. It's very interesting because those same responses are the responses that we have here. Our farmers don't speak English or French. They also speak their native languages. But anyway, that's why we have interpreters. So that one, Francois will shoot that one down. But it's a reality that farmers are actually private sector everywhere, and they're always counting the cost. For them, being in a meeting is not just a 30 minutes meeting, like now we have 2 hours of Zoom. It's really trade-offs. They have a lot of things to do on their farms. So he's saying the same things we experience in Africa here, they're experiencing in Europe. And so the engagement of farmer to farmer has to be well thought out. And he gave us some hope that there are some initiatives that there was an attempt to bring European farmers to meet African farmers, and they were very excited. And then he talked about the challenge of PAEPARD not being able to fund opportunities like for industry, and saying that they hope this new venture will learn from PAEPARD's mistakes and not repeat them. Then he ended with a question, ended by sharing the experience in Egypt that he had. Francois, it's everywhere. Wherever we have farmers show in Africa, wherever, you have the Chinese bring their things, all these people who are well funded and connected, they bring their goods, and some of them are sold much cheaper. And so people keep, taking up these things. Yeah, so that challenge of having Africa process their own products and put them on the market, it's something that, we all of us have to think about and think of how to actually put forward Africa's products as competitive in quality and quantity with products from elsewhere. So thank you very much to the panel. I'll clap for you again. And if you found this interesting, please use the reactions and give them a clap. And now, Jonas, I'll call on you to invite our next speaker because you know him better. Jonas.
Okay, thank you, Monica. I think you know Philippe Petit-Guenin.
Yes, I know Philip. Yeah.
Yes. Philippe.
Do you want to introduce or shall I start? Shall I upload my presentation? Is it okay?
Yes, yes, please. Go ahead.
I hope it works. Is okay? Is it in full screen?
Yeah, yes, now it's in full screen.
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this session. I must say that I work for CIRAD, and CIRAD has been involved in PAEPARD, and PAEPARD is really a very interesting initiative, and typically it is a brown, because now most people talk about PAEPARD as an example and a lot to be learned from, and I'll come back to this point in my presentation. So very briefly, I want to present to you this proposal to establish a bicontinental platform to support the partnership between Europe and Africa in research and innovation in the domain that is our domain, food and nutrition security and sustainable agriculture. I am coordinating this project, Leap for FNSSA. I think you've seen these slides. I'll go very briefly through them. The number of partners from both continents. It's also organized in work packages which are co-led by the European and an African institutions. And just coming to this, the objective of Leap for FNSSA, which is facilitating this week, is to establish what we define as a sustainable structure or platform for the efficient and coherent implementation of the EU-AU Research and Innovation Partnership, as described in the roadmap. The words here, which are important, is coherence and efficiency. It's also that the platform which we are proposing to establish has to be sustainable. It goes beyond the timeline of a specific project, and it has to be linked to the FNSSA roadmap. I think maybe some of the people listening today have listened to the official opening yesterday. The FNSSA roadmap was approved by the EU and the AU in 2016 for 10 years. So it's like a target for both unions to work together on research and innovation initiatives which are of interest of both continents. And I insist here, it's a partnership, it's not an aid program. So it's providing knowledge, inputs, opportunities to respond to the expectations for the citizens and the stakeholders from both sides. I may come back to this point because it's linked to what was discussed on European farmers. So what's definitely the platform to be established, it has these three main objectives. One is creating synergies. Now, a lot is happening in research innovation between Europe and Africa in our domain. Small project, big project, large initiatives, programs, a lot is happening, but it needs to be better connected, and there's a lot of opportunity for synergies. The other one is the difficulty for people to sometimes find the right partners and find the right funding and find the right sort of information. I think just before, I think somebody was finishing by saying, well, the whole importance of the connections, being connected, having the right contact is sometimes what is key to success. So what the platform should do should facilitate this access to who is doing what at what time, and how I can talk to them, how I can approach them, how I can develop partnership, collaboration with actors, and what are the funding opportunities. And at the end, it's boosting the innovation, showcasing what works, and trying to expand it to upscale. And those activities that the platform will put in place, really, they go around those elements, reducing fragmentation, supporting interaction, and improving the coordination. That platform will be launched in 2022. We are working on it, we're building it, and it's very much open to all participants who would like to be part of this design process. And in the first step, it will be organized as an international research consortium. From there, it may evolve as its members will decide. I just wanted to show this graph. Sorry to go a little bit within what is happening in Leap for FNSSA with work packages, but it's important. Establishing this platform is connected to these three specific objectives: increasing the synergy and the coherence, developing a learning environment, a knowledge base, establishing a sustainable system and governance for the platform, as I was saying, going beyond the time of specific project, and maintaining the link with the high-level policy dialogue between the European Union and the African Union, because what we do is really having the support of both unions and responding to the policy guidelines. In fact, the project FNSSA is already working on some of the building blocks of the platform. The platform will launch in 2022, but some elements are already being produced. And I just want to give some example. The work package 1, which is here on the top, you can see it's really working with the HLPD Bureau, and it has just released recently a report on the resilience of food system in Europe and in Africa as a contribution for both continents to their participation to the UN food system that Francois Stefman was mentioning. And that report was discussed in an expert workshop with experts from both continents. Just an example. Another example is when we talk about creating synergies and coherence between actors in the specific objective 1. One of the work package 2, is definitely working on how to connect with actors and try to do it in a sort of downscale. It's a bicontinental platform, but how can we downscale to the specific regions in Africa and the specific regions in Europe? So at the moment, it's mostly working in North Africa and West Africa on how those different actors, stakeholders there, European stakeholders who are working in North Africa or West Africa, and stakeholders from North Africa and West Africa, how they can create synergies between them, how they can have a coherent vision on what they want to achieve. So that's a major achievement towards this specific objective, and that will feed the buildup of the IRC platform. And work package 3 here is really progressing a lot on the learning environment, how to provide information which is what we call tailor-made. It's not information that you find in everywhere. You stakeholders, I'm sure you have some specific questions, and sometimes it's difficult to get the right answers, create the right contacts with the right actors. So we have to develop some specific instruments. So the project is already working on this and will feed all this, the alliances of actors, the knowledge mechanisms, and the system to develop tailor-made informations, the dialogue with the Bureau, and the reflection on governance will all feed into the platform. I've said that that platform will start as being an international research consortium, and I just want to go very briefly on what is the International Research Consortium. I think it was mentioned, even with the example of what Patrick was saying about in what you did in Benin. What is it? It's a group of institutions who are committed to work together. This includes research and innovation institutions, but not only. They agree formally, and there is some sort of document where they agree, some sort of MOU. So it's institutions who commit, they agree together, they agree to work on the mid to long term. Here, that's the importance of not saying just a project for 3 years, but we want to go beyond this. There could be first stages, but has to be a long term. Go towards a goal which is commonly defined. In our case, it's the FNSSA roadmap, so that we know where we want to go. They have to work together on what is the governance mechanism they want to implement. And of course, we are talking not about a virtual platform. We're talking about an operational platform who does activity, deliver informations, facilitate meetings. So it's implementing. And of course, all this will require resources, and resources will come from the members of the platform, bringing in kind and in-cash resources, but also from the support that will come from outside. You may ask, why do we choose this IRC as the first model to start this platform? The first one is, as I insisted, the first element of the platform is the commitment of the founding institutions. if there's a strong commitment, then there will be long-term sustainability. I mean, FARA has been committed to the PAEPARD partnership and continues to be. So it's an example of how this commitment really creates sustainability. The other one is an IRC is an instrument which is welcomed by the European Commission, but is not very restrictive. You can work through it, you can adapt it. There are